Hello everybody, I'm here with my good friend Jimmy Moore. How are you, sir?
I'm doing very well. How about you?
I'm doing good. This is take two.
Take two.
It
does feel deja vu.
It does, but we still look the same.
I know.
I'm a little brighter than you are today.
Yeah, that's all right.
Hey, we have a cool new product to show you today, and this was all forecasted by my trusty 8-ball not too long ago. I asked it what was the next cool product that we had to have, and I looked over and it said you should take a trip to Vegas. No, that was over the 4th.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
We just got back. So 5th of July right now, and to be honest with all of you, we recorded this about a week ago, and I got back from a quick trip over the 4th, plugged it in to do the editing.
No audio. So we're going to subtitle it, but we figured it'd take too long.
So we better record it again.
Yeah.
So, hey, very cool new product. Where is it? Where's the box? Shark Week's over. We were going to do this thing about Shark Week, but Shark Week's over. This is from Amimon Connex. It's the new ProSight, and I will be really honest with you. I was skeptical about this product. I talked to Connex about it over a year ago and said, hey, the quick multi-rotor, the racing, the FPV scene is hot, and I've always loved their big Connex stuff. It's 5.8 gigahertz, but it's full HD, and we've put them on the DJI S1000s and 900s for several years now. Fantastic piece of equipment, but it was very big and we couldn't put it on anything smaller. Even their Mini, which we've done quite well with, we couldn't put it on an FPV unit. It was too big. So I went to Connex and said, hey, help us out with this about 2 years ago, a year or 2 years ago. Well, lo and behold, they've built one, and we've been flying one for about a week. Their engineers came to our shop about a week ago now, 10 days ago, and they brought one of the early beta units as well as a production unit that's not full production yet. Right. We asked them why it wasn't full production. They said they were going to make the box look nicer.
Yeah, they want the box to look prettier.
But we want to show it to you this morning, kind of everything that's in the box. And what
obviously this is not the transmitter.
That's the receiver. Hand me the little the Katana over there with the top on it. This is our Katana KMR 250 Racer, and it has a typical 5.8 system on it right now. I think out of immersion we've got on there, and it works very well. Nothing wrong with 5.8 gigahertz. But with the advent of all the new HD goggles and the head play goggles, the Fat Shark goggles, wouldn't it be cool to see an HD signal? Also, when you go racing with a group and there's 10 or 15 people doing laps, it would be cool not to have any bleed over or band saturation and still get a good HD signal. And that's what Connex has delivered here. So what do we have here? This is a receiver. And it's designed, of course, you can lay it wherever you want, or there's a tripod mount on the bottom that's actually better. Set it up on a tripod.
Which is what we did when we tested it.
We tested it. We have a 70-acre facility we're blessed with where we can test this stuff. And the guys from Connex, Aaron and the engineer, were making the trip around the United States. They had just got here from one of the northern states. And when they unpacked their bags, it was all parts and pieces. And we kind of said, well, what's going on? And they said, well, we were just at another dealer up north and they were flying it. And they'll go unmentioned, but very good electrical guys, but they put it in the lake.
Put it in the lake.
So we had to fly with the backup to the backup.
Yeah. You could tell they were a touch nervous, but not too bad. They were really kind of like, have at it, fly.
It was very cool. I mean, we wore it out. So the receiver sits on a tripod, and a couple things I learned is I always thought these dipoles were just very directional, but they said theirs are omnidirectional, kind of like a cloverleaf but with more power, and there's 5 of them. And the reason there's 5 of them is because there's a lot of data coming across the HD band, and they're recording it all so they get 1, good reception, and 2, they're able to capture multiple streams, which lets them do this without zero latency is what I should say.
Yeah, but real close to it, that's for sure.
The camera in the box is, where is it? Gets lost in there, it's so small.
Little HD camera. That is an HD camera. There's a high-def camera. You can see the plug on the back is quite large because all the data that comes to and from it, there's the plug.
Out of the transmitter. And a little bitty transmitter. It's wafer thin. You can see some of the images here. I'll get a close-up for you, and you can see that.
Actually has a little mount. Comes with a little mount. Now, also comes with the little black mounting balls like you see on DJI stuff. And that's how they had it mounted. It was very...
wobbly.
Yeah, I didn't care for it much myself, but they had never flown it with it solid mounted. So we're going to try that because I think it would be fine, honestly.
Well, our typical 5/8 stuff is hard mounted.
That's a solid mounted.
That's our
run cam on our
KMR
little
X run
X
cam.
frame. That's solid mounted.
And in our KMR 250, it's hard mounted. So.
And they had said that they didn't know, they hadn't done it. So we're going to try it just to see because I didn't care for that too much. It was okay, but it just seemed like I would always. I know, and I always kept handing it back to him every time the rubber ball would come out and say, "Here, engineer, you fix it." So I think we'll solid mount it, see how that goes.
The engineers weren't pilots, but they're really good engineers.
And they told us that they tested this with different types of antennas, and that they just didn't find anything to be better. So to go out and spend, $50, $60, $100 and something on different antennas because you think you're going to get a better signal, they swear you don't. And they said that they've had another place, which I won't mention, also did the same thing and said, well, yeah, we saw a little bit different result, but nothing that was phenomenal.
Yeah, so the upshot is there's no need to spend a lot of money on antennas.
We
Those
flew
tend
it,
to work
and
fine.
I flew it pretty far out range-wise and stuff, and I never really had any type of issue.
There is a difference in the camera. There was a lot of talk on the boards that says, oh, that's a CMOS camera. It's not very good, but the colors were very brilliant and very deep. And being an actual HD camera,
yes,
it gives you a fantastic
And I wondered
picture.
about that too because I kept thinking CMOS. I have a problem with that transition of light. I had to go CCD on my stuff because I flew this 5 different times or 6 different flights, and that was never even a question for me as far as the transition of the light. Not one time.
It's optimized for daylight and indoors. It's using HDR technology inside. And by the way, this is a full 720p at 30 frames a second, or 720i at 60 frames a second. And again, they're saying 0 latency. They're actually saying there's more latency from what they say from the camera to the transmitter due to the wires than there is from the transmitter to the receiver through the air.
Because of your connections with wires is where you pick up.
And that's the case with any camera that's transmitting. It's got to go through a wire somewhere.
It had the 2 modes. They had the race mode, and I think they called it HD mode and race mode. So they're both high definition.
Right, both HD. The race mode is a little bit faster, I would say.
Yeah.
It's also still HD, but then you can go into full HD mode, which you were flying it up and down a tree line.
Crystal clear. I mean, you see the leaves on the trees and stuff. I did that twice, and I did race mode because that's more what I was interested in. But and really, the only time I ever had to do anything was when I purposely went back behind that tree line to block it, and it started pixelizing. Instead of like a 5.8 where you start getting all that fuzziness, it started pixelizing. But as soon as I turned, I was fine. I turned and got altitude where it could get a good signal. I was fine. But it doesn't do that 5.8 like it's losing the picture and breaking up. It doesn't do that. It just does not do that.
And to help you understand a little bit, I live on an airport, a grass strip. It's about 2,500 feet long, and Jim was about 600 or 700 feet away, had made a right-hand turn behind some trees, purposely to check and see what was going on with it.
It's a solid row of trees. It's all pine trees and stuff. You couldn't see the quad at all.
The angle of view on this I thought was pretty good too. It's 105 degrees, so you get to see good, but not too wide.
Yeah.
So
I don't care for them to be too wide myself. And I was skeptical up till the time I flew it. I just, thought, I got to see this, and I did. I mean, it was a lot better than I was expecting.
We went into it skeptical because the price on it is $499 for the complete package, and anytime you see something that's $500, then you want to make sure it's going to work really well. What else we got in the box in there?
This would be, which is going to look looks like a top fuel dragster's wing, but that's the antenna. So when we first looked at this, I thought, oh man, there's no way. But if you look, the way you mount this, you would mount this like here.
Yeah,
that is what you would do. Whoop. Yeah, if you can see that. So this would be not there, of course. That would be mounted there. Now, that's antenna, and this piece is antenna. So you have all different directions, so it's going to pick up. I was concerned about it, but if you notice, it is a rubber piece at the very bottom that it's bolted to. So, and the one time I come in, popped up in the air, and then I flipped it over sideways, and it did nothing to it.
Well, it's a dipole. It's set up perpendicular, just like you would do your Spectrum antenna wires or anything else. They've just stuck it out on the back
Yeah.
to give better
And,
reception.
I mean, if you think about it, I mean, that's our little X. There's our 5.8, and you can see there's no top on it because it had a crash. And,
Yeah.
Right? So
But
it's
they're about the
really,
same height,
yeah,
really,
and
when
it's
it comes
really
down to it.
not as big as it seems. The mounting of it would be a little bit different because you're going to have to mount it right to a frame.
You could screw it or zip tie it.
But it absolutely handles the crashing. We tested that.
I thought it was nice how they did it. It's got the connectors already on it, which makes it real
Yep.
easy to plug into the actual
Yeah, so you-
transmitter,
Yeah.
which is wafer thin, by the way.
Yeah.
Thought it was going to be a lot bigger. The
Yeah.
power wires are done. So
31 grams, I believe, is what 31,
yeah,
I think,
very,
is what
very,
that
very,
came
very
out to.
lightweight. And I think the camera was also less than an ounce. It was 28 or 27
Yeah.
grams as I'm scrambling. 13 grams the camera is what I'm looking at on my cheat sheet down here. They've got a couple of different, the way the frequencies work for transmitting. Again, it is on 5.8, but it's not limited. What a lot of people didn't know is the original Connex systems were good for a lot further than they said they were good for, but they had limited the power. So no matter what you did or what antennas you put, it was only good for X amount of feet. They claim this system with the receiver and the transmitter is good for 1,000 feet. That's what they are specking in their specs. They're out there for everybody. Being on a runway, we wanted to test it. And so Jim flew it all the way down. I mean, we were getting ready to get into the traffic. And then we raced down with a golf cart while he was hovering and to see where he started getting a blip or so. And what'd you get?
There's actually, this also has an OSD on it. So in
Oh,
the
yeah.
top right corner of the OSD, you have a signal bar just like you do on your cell phone. So, and I saw it up there, but then they would say to me, is it red? Is it red? And I said, no, I still have a bar, and the second bar would kind of blip in and out. I never got to the point of it being red. He told me, so when you get to that point and it turns red, he said, you're there, you need to stop and back up because you will lose it soon. I never hit that point, never lost that last bar. And we were
1,750 feet measured on our grass airstrip.
Yeah.
And it was funny because the engineers were kind of going, well, I can't see it, I
They
can't
were
see
getting
it.
nervous because they couldn't see it, and I purposely stayed low just in case I could just pull throttle and go down, and that's why we went down with the golf cart. But I popped up in the air and moved around while I was doing it, and I never lost signal. It didn't even pixelize. The only time I ever pixelized was when I went behind the tree line. But that was, again, they're 60-foot pine trees.
Which is what any signal like this, other
Absolutely,
than 1.2 or
5.8 would
1.3
give
is
you a hard
going
time,
to
too,
do. It's going
so.
to do that, so.
Yeah, distance, I had a lot more distance than I was expecting. That's
Well,
for
most
sure.
races are going to be close in and
Yeah,
around the track,
absolutely.
so I mean,
You wouldn't
geez,
fly that
1,000
far
feet
away.
would be plenty.
Absolutely.
1,700 feet, or you could have probably
Yeah.
gone to 2,000 or so. Would
Yeah, I
have
think
been
I could have went
fantastic.
to the road.
One cool thing they did, and I didn't bring my telephone in here, but they have an app that fits on your iPhone or your Android. And when you turn it on, it recognizes all of the receivers that are out there in a little scroll window. So if you're at a race and you have the app and there's a bunch of ProSight guys racing, you can actually click on one and watch their race.
Yeah.
Because it segregates, you can name it, so you could
Yeah.
say Jim's KMR
Yeah,
250
so,
or...
you got Mr. Steele there or Schizo or any of those guys, and they have it named, their name, obviously. You pull it up and you will see who they are and where they're at, and you can actually watch them. It's really cool the way it does that.
And you can tune it. You can tune the channels and things from where you're at, because there's again 3 different ways that they're allocating the channels for good to you. And I didn't mention, coming out of the actual receiver, there's a USB port. There's a power port for running it. We ran it on a 3S LiPo. We just plugged right into it. And then, of course, an HDMI port. So you can come right out of this receiver into your goggles or into a big flat screen like this if you're at a show or something like that, to be able to see the image.
I'd have to have that other port on there. I wonder what that'll be for.
Well, when you're flying
never
anything, there's a whole bunch of little gizmos
Yeah,
and ports
it's hard to
and
say what
stick
might be
stuff
coming.
coming out of this thing. So a thing that was alluded to that we can't really tell you, but let's assume, for instance, you're flying your KMR 250 and you want to record. You got this GoPro slapped up on the top of it,
Yeah.
which is huge and big, but it does a great job. We all know GoPros work good. In the case of our KMR X,
The little run cam on top.
we have a run cam on top,
pretty compact, but
which is cool, but still big and bulky and
Yes.
heavy.
Yes.
So I have a feeling, and I'm not saying this officially because they told me not to, but that this little port might be for something fancy coming in the future that might eliminate big and bulk and make things nice and smaller.
record HD.
to record full HD.
Very small.
Because that's a problem, you know. If I
Yes.
plug into my Fat Shark goggles, which are fantastic, and tell it to record, I get analog.
Yeah.
Or I'd be able to broadcast right on the TV and full HD feed. I mean, with your goggles again, if you plug in and record, like on the Fat Sharks, you can record. Unfortunately, you get analog. And we really want to see digital because digital is very cool, and we want to have it in a nice lightweight package. So what do we do next? We're going to mount it?
Yeah, we're going to actually put it on our Katana. We're going to do that today, and then hopefully maybe even this evening or by tomorrow we're going to go out and do some flying with it a little more.
Some big storms outside.
Yeah, we'll fly around.
We'll have to get rid
We
of
have
those. But
HD,
you know
we
what?
can see clouds.
It'll mount nice and small.
Yeah, we actually think we have a way of putting it underneath the top plate pretty easily because it's very thin. It's a little long, but it's thin, which is nice.
Yeah, in
So we're
comparison,
probably going
yeah.
to lay it underneath this top plate here. It looks like it. We get done, we'll take some shots of it done.
Of how
and
it's mounted in there, and
Yeah.
it'll look real good.
And put our top fuel dragster wing on there.
Antennas, very cool.
Yeah.
I think they ought to put it in colors.
Yeah, right.
And maybe
Get
some LEDs around it or something would
Yeah.
be cool so you could see it.
Formula One wing. Yeah.
All right, so the Connex ProSight by Amimon, very cool, $4.99. First delivery's coming at the end of July.
Right.
We have a bunch of them already pre-sold, but we'll have more in our very first allocation. So if you think you want one, definitely jump on it and get it. Remember, we never charge you until we ship. So if you change your mind or something,
Yes.
but I think you're going to love it. I'm excited about this.
Yeah,
Full
yeah.
HD is very immersive.
Yes,
It's
I think the thing that really I like the most about it is just you didn't have that 5.8 breakup stuff.
I thought
which
we
is
should
really
like
cool.
the hat. It was a cool
Well,
hat.
I did like the hat.
Yeah.
Notice I still didn't
ProSight.
get one. It's still sitting on the table.
So there's still some here.
Yeah.
So
We'll
anyway,
get it before Russell.
thanks for watching. We'll give you some more data when we're done. Adios.
Take care.